Today I'll be doing a review of the Taft Attractions wooden roller coaster, Grizzly. Out of all the roller coasters from my trip, not only was this my favorite wooden coaster, but out of the 30 new credits I got, this is the one that surprised me the most. But it isn't perfect and has some flaws to it, but we can discuss it in that review, and speaking of the review, it starts right now. Just like all of my previous reviews, we are going to be starting with the entry experience. Grizzly is very weird in the fact that you have to travel through a gift shop to get to the ride's entrance. Usually it's the other way around. When you get off a ride, usually you go through a gift shop because the park wants you to buy things, but this does not happen on Grizzly, and it's pretty weird and confused me a lot the first time I rode it. But after clearing the gift shop, you have a mini plaza that isn't much except the ride entrance and the sign, but there is a cool statue of a bear that's pretty detailed and looks pretty nice. But you enter the queue and nothing crazy here to be expected. Instead of switchbacks, you have a long narrow path that goes all the way to the station, and it's in some trees, so it's a plus that it's insanely shaded back there. You reach the station and it is massive in there. I don't really know what I was expecting, but the station is huge, and I think that the reason why I made it this way is because the actual queue line to get there isn't that long, so they just pack everybody in this room. But you pick your seat and sit down in the standard PTC trains with the standard PTC restraints. Personally, I like the PTC restraints a lot. I get a lot of room since I'm smaller, but if you are bigger, I could see how this could be a problem, but in my opinion, they're pretty good. You put on that lap bar and you are ready to ride on the fantastic Grizzly. Alright, to start your ride on Grizzly, you take a left-hand turn and immediately hit the lift hill. On Grizzly, there's no pre-lift or anything, no pre-sections, none of that, just straight to the lift hill. But you rise up the lift hill, and very similar to the other big wooden roller coaster at Kings Island, the Beast, you're in the middle of the woods. Now, it's not like the Beast where it travels around the woods and that's the main point of the ride, but it's still very cool that you are surrounded on all sides by trees and nature. The first drop is amazing, seriously one of the best drops that I've experienced, and that is not limiting it to just wooden roller coasters. In the back row, which this is a back row ride by the way, has some spectacular ejector airtime. You are seriously whipped out of your seat on this thing, and it helps that the trains are super duper long. And there is a twist halfway down, so you are pulled to the lift abruptly. It's so incredibly fun. But after that, you rise and hit a standard wooden coaster turnaround. It's no different than the turnaround on something like Racer 75, where it's just a means to turn the train around. Maybe a little bit of laterals here and there, but no real forces to be mentioned, nothing crazy. After the 180, you do a little drop off the turnaround, and there is some good floater airtime here. In the back, you might get some flow-jector, but it's still some solid floater. But even though that was a good moment, it immediately gets one-upped by the elements that follow, since this run of elements might be some of the best wooden coaster track that I've experienced so far, and I'm being so real. The quick ejector hill that follows is just nuts, and when I rode it for the first time, I just couldn't believe it. You are so abruptly launched out of your seat with some strong ejector airtime. It's incredible, and with those PTCs, you just feel like you're going to fly straight out of the train. Then basically right after that, you hit another hill, but this time it's in a tunnel. And also, it being inside of a tunnel is very important, and you'll see why. You're cruising through the tunnel with a little banking while turning to the right, so you get some nice laterals, then you are just pulled straight down to the ground. You are ejected out of your seat, with this being the best moment of airtime on the entire ride in my opinion. It's while you're getting laterals, so it's a good combo element, and since you're in the tunnel, you have no idea it's coming. It's just amazing down to the littlest aspect. You start turning to the right and hit this weird overbank / turnaround thing, but it's still pretty solid. Now, at the end of the day, it is just a means to turn the train around, but it provides some strong laterals. And the laterals are pretty strong here as well, and you get a good sight of rides like Twisted Timbers and even Windseeker, so that's pretty cool. Up to this point in the ride, Grizzly has been a pretty smooth ride overall thanks to Gravity Group's retracking, but this is where the roughness does come into play, since from my knowledge, they only retracked about half the ride, and you can feel some bounciness at some points as we continue through the ride. You rise into another airtime hill after the turnaround. It's not nearly as good as the two previous hills, but it's still a solid moment of airtime. As you rise to the element, you get some decent floater, not quite the ejector from previously, but it's still a very quality moment of air. Then you basically do that again with a very similar hill that follows right after. Just some solid floater, nothing special as the ejector hills, but this one is bumpy, and it's kind of a theme for the rest of the ride. But you rise into another turnaround, and it's so weird, but oddly fun. There is almost no banking, and you take this with so much speed to where you're pinned to the side of the train for a good 6 seconds, and you basically can't move. And I don't know whose idea it was to put those wooden wall type things on the side of the ride. It feels very, very dangerously close. Now, I didn't try it, but it feels like if you reached your arm out, you could just touch the wall and scrape yourself. But I don't know, I guess let them do whatever they want, I guess. Then you go into another hill that has the potential to be like the first two, but it's just too bumpy. Like, you get some good flow ejector airtime, but it's too rough. Like I said earlier, the second half of the ride is so much rougher than the first half that you can still enjoy the moments of air, but just not to the fullest potential. Then you hit another hill that has the ejector potential. Don't get me wrong, this hill and the last one has some good airtime, but the roughness and bumpiness is just out of control. If they could smooth out the second half even a little bit, it would be amazing. But after that, you rise into the brake run, and that ends your ride on the wooden roller coaster Grizzly. Overall, I liked Grizzly a lot. The first half with the drop and the 2 ejector hills are some of my favorite wooden coaster track to date. But the second half does bring it down a little bit, but it's so incredibly easy to fix. If the second half could be as smooth as the first, this could be a top 10 roller coaster that I've been on, no doubt. But sadly, this isn't the case, but still, the Woody is filled with incredible airtime, laterals, and anything that you would want from a good wooden roller coaster. And even though the second half is rough, you can still enjoy some of the airtime moments. It's still good overall. My final score of Grizzly is a good 8.5 out of 10, and currently sits at my number 16th in my rankings, just behind Candemonium. Thanks for watching. Tell me what you think of Grizzly. I liked it a lot more than I thought I would going into it. I think it had good airtime, good laterals. If they could smooth out the second half, it would probably be a good 9.5 out of 10 roller coaster. But other than that, have a good day.